What's going on? It's the Mental Manny. I am Rossi, and I got given a new video idea by one of my friends, and that idea is called Story Time. It may sound childish. I'm gonna think of a better name than Story Time, but I thought, do you know what? I've got a lot of experience and a lot of stuff has happened in the last couple of years that's like so vivid in my memory that I could just create some videos about it and see if you guys find that interesting at all. If you don't, that's fine. If you do, that's great. But I have this story for today that I kind of came into my head today. I was just kind of reminded of it in some weird, miraculous way. I was out. Let's set the scene. So I was a raver for about 3-4 years. I was taking a lot of MD and smoking a lot of weed. Basically, going to a rave as usual, and I was already pretty twisted, which is the terminology for when you're on MDMA. That's the feeling you get. You feel twisted almost. So I'm there, got a buzz on, everything's going sick. I remember on the way in, they were like, take off your hats. And we're like, why? And they were like, you can't wear hats inside, we need to see your face. And I went, you can see my face right now. And if you had CCTV, you would be able to tell anyway. So I just thought that was a bit weird. It looked like a dodgy place anyway. So I was like, why do you want us to take off our hats? So we just put on our hats when we got in. Silly rule in reality. The hat thing really doesn't matter. So I'm hitting the water bottles. I'm at the bar chilling with a couple of friends. Probably there's like 6 or 10 of us. I remember there was the porta cabins, like porta potties outside this tiny little venue in this like smoking area, and I just kept going into these porta potties and doing more and more and more and more until I got on a nice level. Went back inside, was like jamming about, lost all of my friends in this tiny ass venue. I don't know how. I end up at the front row, which I'm like known for. I was always on like the front right or the front left or the back right. So I was on the front right. I see some guy I know, and I'm like, oh, safe. So we get chatting, he's drinking a bev, I'm drinking my water, and he's like, oh, do you want a beer? I was like, yeah, sure. And he was like, oh, have this one. And I was like, sound, man, sound, thank you for that. So I just take this beer, I down the whole can, and I'm like, chilling. And then the guy looks at me, and he kind of laughs, and I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, that just had a bit of MD in it. And I was like, a bit? What do you mean by a bit? And he was like, oh, not that much, like half a gram. I was like, I'm already twisted though. And then the guy was like saying, oh, but like this, that and the other, whatever. I just thought in my head, do you know what? It's free. This is the time that I basically got spiked, and I enjoyed it because the guy didn't even tell me, drank it all, and then suddenly I'm on an extra half gram of MD, and then that started to hit me. I was absolutely gone the whole night. I couldn't see straight. So I was like loving life as usual and kind of listening to this like jump up style music. I was like, even into that, that's how twisted I was. I don't like jump up. So I was there twisted, I see one of my friends going for a hug, and then she's like, oh no, I'm gonna be sick. So I'm like, oh shit. She runs to the bin, throws up. I'm like, fuck. Seeing her throw up kind of made me want to throw up. I was like already on another level. It was a crazy night because pretty much all of us got twisted. And that was like the usual. That was nothing crazy. But everyone got a little bit too twisted. And I think the club was called Dolphin, something like that. I think it was Dolphin. I'm not too sure. I can't remember. But we that goes on till like 4 a.m. I think 4 a.m. we were there, and then we left, and we went to a McDonald's, and everyone wanted some food. I was like, how the hell are you eating on this stuff? I was like, sat on the table. I started coming down as soon as I entered McDonald's. I was like, eyes were like this, and they were like shaking, going like this, and I was like, fuck. My jaw was like hurting. I was like, oh no. And I just watched all my friends eating this like tough bacon. I was like, it was like the morning menu, so this was probably like 6 a.m. It was crazy late. I was like so fucking done by that point. I was like, yo, we need to get back to the after shout and smoke some fucking weed. But they were all eating, munching away. I remember like two of us basically had our heads on the table, completely out of it. We head back to the after session afterwards at our mates where we were trapping, and I remember I smoked like a Q or a half O with them, and I remember just sitting there. I was fine the whole way, and it was helping, and then I got to the last one, and I just felt really fucking weird. So I go up to the toilet, I sit on the toilet, and I put my head between my legs, and then I closed my eyes, and it felt like it had been probably 45 minutes to an hour in my head. I was tripping balls. So I trip balls, bring my head back up, look at the time, and it had been 1 minute, and I was like sweating. So I was like, whoo, dearie me. Go downstairs, and everyone's like trying to pass me a zoo. I was like, oh, I'm good. But this all came from the fact that I did probably more than I should have through just being handed a beer, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll have that. Down it without even, asking the general precautions and stuff. But this was like a usual little business. This was a usual show on a weekend, you know what I mean? This is what we would do. We'd go out, we'd get the drugs in first, we'd sort out tickets for a venue or sort out what venue we're going to, and then we'd pretty much all go in, but we'd all already be on something, and then we'd take more in there and then go back to an after show. It's like the usual raver story, except we used to go a little bit harder than the typical ravers. Like, we were more into the drug side of things than the actual music. But it was a crazy time, because that night it was just like jump up central, and it wasn't really our type of music, but we kind of enjoyed it still because we were so fucked up. And I remember going outside smoking, and I think I was slightly tripping balls at that point. I was like looking up at the sky, and I could see like little different things. But like, I think with MD, you're good till a point, and then if you do like a big amount more, that it doesn't feel like you've done that much more, but you start like tripping, because if you do enough, you're gonna start visually tripping. And obviously throughout most of this, I'm like stoned as well, so that just increases the visual perception of like the actual hallucinations. Dolphin Club was pretty cool. It was like a warehouse vibe. So it's this place. It's quite small as well, so it's quite personal. It's a pretty good venue if you're into warehouse type venues. They play like D&B there, like maybe some trap, I don't know. They do all kinds there. But the venue itself is super cheap because it's so small and it is a warehouse. So it's great for if you're just trying to get a cheap night out. It was super cheap. We never spent money on like big nights out, as in like for tickets and for other stuff like that. What we would do is spend the most amount of money on the drugs, and then we knew we'd have a good night because of the drugs, rather than you spend all your money on a venue and you're not really guaranteed to have a good night, because it could be shit. The artist could be shit. They could just have a bad night, and that could make a bad night for you. So we just spent more money on drugs, and that kind of guaranteed it in our heads because we enjoy the drugs and the drugs make us enjoy the night. So that's the kind of way we would work it. I by no means recommend do any of this. I'm past that life. It caused a load of issues. I'm not recommending you do these things. This is just me explaining what has happened and the things that I remember doing. So if you guys did find this video at all interesting, do let me know down in the comments section below. I'll leave all social links down there too. If you want to join the mental family, please do hit subscribe, hit that bell icon for notifications, and I will see you guys in the next video.